Hi guys, it's Adam from Car Enhancements. Today we're going to be fitting a next base dashcam to a Transit Custom. Right, today we're going to be fitting the next base 522GW. This is a front and rear facing camera. It's the world's first camera with emergency SOS apparently. And it's got Alexa built in and it can connect to your mobile phone as well. So in this kit you get the front camera, so you get the actual camera itself, which comes all nicely packaged in a little bag, and then we also have a sticky mount, a magnet mount, and we get the in-car installation kit, which consists of a cigarette lighter, but I won't be using that and I'll show you why in a minute. Your normal cable to connect it to your computer should you require, a couple of extra sticky pads, trim removal tool, very handy. So that's the front camera, and then you also receive the optional rear camera. Now this is for the rear of your car, can be plugged into the front camera so that they both record simultaneously, and it's just one long wire and the camera itself with a sticky mount. Now, like I just said, I won't be using the kit that comes in there in terms of the cigarette lighter kit. I'll be using the separately purchased next base dashcam hardwire kit, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it connects to a fuse and it comes on and off with the ignition, which I just find is a lot better. In that kit you receive the wiring loom, plugs into the camera on one end, it takes power from a fuse off the other and earth, and then you receive two fuse holders, standard blade fuse, mini blade fuse. So before we do anything, the first thing that we're going to do is look at getting the cables where they need to be. The reason why we're going to do this, you don't want to get your dashcam stuck on the windscreen, get it all beautiful, get it where it needs to go, and then figure out that you've not left yourself enough room for the cable. Also, as well as that, we're going to look at getting the power supply. So just under this section here is where you're going to find your fuse box for the hardwire kit. So the first thing we're going to have to do is remove all this section, take off the weather guard and route the cables all up to the windscreen. So we're going to crack on with that now. Just under your steering wheel you're going to see this piece of plastic trim here, and all we're going to do is you're going to pop that off, and that literally just pulls, as you saw how easy that was then, and just be careful to pull it towards you rather than down so as to not snap any clips, and you'll see that we've now exposed some areas of the fuse box here. The next thing that we're going to do is inside the cup holder you're going to see this little flap here. Pop your finger in that hole and away she pulls, just as simple as that. So using a trim removal tool, we're going to get under this cup holder, just pop that out, and that literally just lifts out. So for the nature of the video I've already removed these, but just to point out, there, and there is 3 screws that are T25. Okay, once you've undone them screws, this part here just pulls towards you, and then all you need to do is on the back of the light switch is this cable. You squeeze that plug connector and pull it out, and all you need to do is just leave that there resting. Just make sure that you don't damage it when you're working. So one key thing I always suggest before going any further is test that it works. The last thing that you want to do is spend the next 20 minutes, half an hour routing all your cables, getting it where you want it to go, turning your ignition on and the camera not coming on. So now that everything's plugged in as it should be, I've plugged the camera back in there. I'm going to take the key, I'll pop the ignition in, turn the key, and if it comes on, then you know that it's worked. There you go. Right, the next thing that we're going to do is mount the dash cam. So have a little bit of a think, where do you want it, where's it going to get the best view? Once you've made a decision, this literally attaches with a magnet or a clip, depending on what dash cam that you've got. This one being a next base has just got a very nice magnet that clips in. And all we're going to do there, we're just going to pop off the 3M tape, make sure that you've cleaned the area prior to sticking, decide where you're going to pop it and stick it in place firmly. Make sure that that gives you the optimal view that you need. Okay, and that should stay put. Once that's on there, we're going to look at routing the cables. Right then, in terms of routing the cable, I always start at the camera side. The reason why I start at the camera side is because you may have some leftover cable. It's far easier to hide that cable under the dashboard in the cubby hole near the fuse box than it is to hide it up here. So you're going to feed the cable across to your camera, make sure that there is no knots, no kinks, no tangles, and you're going to find out where the plug plugs in. Leave yourself a little bit of slack, maybe about 8 inches, and all we're going to do is feed it up there into the headlining. And you're going to run that all the way across the windscreen, up into the headlining. If you need to, you may need to use a little bit of a trim tool, but just keep feeding it across, and then I'll join you back at the other side. Now what we're going to do when we get to here, we need to find a way of getting this cable from the windscreen to the weather guard. Now the weather guard just pulls off. Just be careful, on this vehicle it's covered in horrible sticky glue. And all we're going to look at doing is from this side, just tuck it behind the plastic trim and then pull it tight. And as you can see, that's now hidden. Now I managed to tuck that cable all the way down the trim, and it comes out nicely here just by this little bit of cutout in the metal. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take all this excess cable, we're going to cable tie it up, and we're going to secure it nicely in place behind here so it can't go anywhere. So yeah, we're going to pop the key in, turn the ignition on, see if she comes on. There you go. So like I say, we've now tested that it works. All the cables are hidden, and the next task is to put all the trim panels back together under your dashboard and rebuild. So just like you did when you was taking off, we've got this panel back on here now. We are just going to stretch up here and plug the light back in. Make sure that that goes fully in. You'll hear that the van's beeping currently, now that's gone off. And then we're just going to give it a tap, and she's back in. So don't be too rough with it, a couple of taps here and there, just to make sure that she's back in. Now it is worth noting that the fuse box cover that went over the fuse box may not go back on with your piggyback fuse that you've used. It's not the end of the world, just make sure that you cover the rest of it. Keep this somewhere safe so that when you sell the vehicle you can put it back to standard. So as you can see, it's all now installed, everything's hardwired. The only thing that's left to do is just check the image, make sure that we've got it where we want it. So we're just going to turn it on and wait for it to load. And it's as simple as just a bit of quick adjustment. And I normally like to make sure that it's directly in front and that you can just see the ever so faintest bit of your bonnet, just to give any avoidance of doubt in case you have a little bit of a tap or an accident. Right, you can see it's a lovely nice wide angle camera, and they literally just move around, so should you need to adjust it at any later date, that's all you need to do. You'll now notice as well that as soon as I take the ignition off and the key off, it goes off, and that's all down to plugging the wire into the holder as opposed to the camera itself. So yeah guys, thank you very much. I hope I've been of use. I hope I've been able to help you. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment below if there's anything else that you want to know, or anything else that we can add to further help you. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos.